Hello everybody, this is GamerGar and welcome back to another community let's play. We are now on day number 4. We're still at the very start of the challenge, but things are going to start ramping up now over the next couple of days. So we start today by watering up all of these crops. Now we also need to buy a green starter as well, just for the community centre bundles, so we might purchase that today. We got cookies in the mail. They're very good for energy. They're also quite good to sell. Now as we can see from the previous day, we have a good couple of fishies there that we managed to catch, and we can sell those to Willie today. And the reason why we're selling them today is because we now have a fish skill of 5, so we get 25% more for all the fish. We're going to grab the geodes as well. Clint can break these open, and sometimes you can get very nice things from regular geodes. Coal, copper and iron would be the best things you can hope for if you're going for very early game progression, especially with the tool upgrades. Now we didn't get to upgrade our pickaxe yesterday. Instead, we're going to try and upgrade it today. We have the 5 copper bars, which is absolutely magnificent. All we need now is the 2000 gold, and we can go ahead and get that pickaxe upgraded. And if you take a look at all of the fish that we got from yesterday, once we sell those to Willie directly, we should have, in or around, enough money to get the job done. The reason why I'm going for a very early pickaxe upgrade is because when you go into the mines with a copper pickaxe, it makes a huge difference. The copper pickaxe will see you through the entirety of the regular mines, even when you get down into the ladder floors, when you're mining up the likes of gold ores and things like that. Now Willie isn't actually open at the moment, he's fishing there. He opens up at 9 o'clock. So we're going to use this time now to get some more fishies so we can get some more money. At the moment we only have a very limited backpack space. If we can get another 2000 gold together, we can get the first inventory upgrade, and that's going to make life much easier for us when it comes to inventory management. The last thing you want to be doing is opening up your inventory every 5 or 10 minutes and deciding what to throw away and what to keep, especially when you're in the mines. Now the reason why I'm fishing in this exact location is because I found that when you throw away items here, they don't fall into the water. They fall onto the ground beside you. This means when Willie opens up at 9 o'clock, I can sell him all of the fish, go back outside, pick up all of the fishies that were on the ground, and rinse and repeat. Now there's still a handful of things we need to do. When it gets to the 5th, which is tomorrow, we need to activate the community centre. That means we'll need to take a trip down to the wizard's house the next day and get those bundles unlocked, because we need the forest magic to interact with those bundles. In terms of fishing skill, we're actually doing quite well at the moment. We're halfway through level 5 on the fishing. Once it gets to level 6, that is where fishing really opens up, because level 6 will give you the recipe for the bait maker. Speaking about the bait maker, we absolutely want to get that made within the next few days, but we also need resources to make that, and you can only get those resources over in the tide pool area. So we're going to cut down a lot of trees today to get our wood back up to 300, so we can fix up the bridge and loot the tide pool area. You want to get it done before the end of Saturday, because all of the forageables that spawn over there will stay there for the whole week, but once it gets to Sunday, it resets. So to maximise the amount of forageables you want to be picking up from the tide pool area, you absolutely want to get that bridge fixed up within the first week of the game. Willie is now entering his shop, and as you can see, every time we do the fishing minigame, time stands still. That's why fishing is just so overpowered when you play it on solo mode. We're now going to head inside Willie's, and we're going to sell him all of the fish that we got. You don't really have to wait for him to get to the counter. As you can see here, once he gets fairly close to the counter, you can just spam click and he will open up all of his shop inventories for you. And then I'm going to go back outside, pick up all the fishies, go back in and rinse and repeat, and we're going to sell him all these things. Now this brings us up to 3000 gold. If we got an extra 1000 gold, not only could we get the first tool upgrade done, but we can also get the backpack upgrade. So today we will strive for both. We will get the tool upgrade done right now. We'll do a little bit more fishing down here at the bottom of Stardew Valley to get the 2000 gold, and then get the backpack upgrade, and then we'll probably head off and cut down some trees for the rest of the day. So we're going to check the trash cans before we go into Clint. You never know what you might get from these. Occasionally, geodes can pop out of those trash cans, and sometimes Clint can break open some very nice things from those geodes. So we're going to go to Clint right now. The first thing we're going to do with Clint here is we're going to get him to process all of our current geodes. We have 4 in total. Now, I'm not using any sort of editing tricks to speed that up. That is a mod called Fast Animations. Fast Animations can speed up many of the animated activities in Stardew Valley, but for the purpose of this video, we're just going to use it to speed up Clint breaking open geodes because it just takes so slow for him to crack them open. I don't think I will ever do a video in the future where I'm not using that mod. Time stands still when Clint breaks open geodes, so it is a real great time saver that will save you tons of time in real life. So if you're on the PC and you have some mods already installed, I highly recommend the Fast Animations mod. And if you're looking for a link, just check the description in the video. All of the mods are down there with the links. So we're going to head back down to Willie's. We have 1,235 gold right now. Basically, we're just going to pull up more fishies until we get over 2,000 gold, and we can then go ahead and we can get the backpack upgrade. I'm also thinking ahead, and I'm also really hoping for a sea jelly. We actually haven't gotten a single sea jelly yet, and we've been doing a lot of fishing down here by the beach area. The reason why we want a sea jelly now is so that when it comes time and we have the funds and we get the recipe off Willie for the fish smoker, we have all 3 jellies and some hardwood so we can craft one up. Once we get the bait maker and the fish smoker, from a money perspective, we will be unstoppable. Anything we need, we'll be able to buy within one day, no problem at all. You've probably noticed as well that our fishing bar has now gotten a little bit bigger from all of the fishing skill ups. Eventually there will come a stage where we will be perfect catching most of the fish that we come across because our fishing bar gets so big. Now a lot of this trash that we're putting up, I'm going to keep it. There will come a time where I will create a recycling machine or a few recycling machines and we will recycle all of that trash. That means refined quartz, coal. If we're really lucky, we might also get some cloth as well if we put in some newspapers. I also realised something too. I was doing some experimentation with baits to see what fish were more common with specific baits. And I went through almost a whole day in another video where I tried to get as many flounders as I could in one day, because flounders are really profitable. And the flounder bait is not very effective, especially when you compare it to the likes of the largemouth bass bait or the bullhead bait. So take my advice, if Willie is selling flounder bait or if you're putting up flounders, don't convert them into flounder bait because the odds aren't great compared to other fish. When you're looking to get as much money as possible in spring via fishing, I would highly recommend the catfish bait, the largemouth bass bait and the bullhead bait. All those 3 bait types are absolutely amazing and they give you well over a 90% catch rate when it comes to picking up those specific fishies. As we can see, our inventory is full yet again. This is the problem if you don't push an early inventory upgrade as quickly as possible. You're going to end up spending so much time throwing away things. I was actually very close to a quad XP catch right there, and that happens a lot more times than you think, where the fish just doesn't seem to want to position itself very close to the chest. If our bar was a little bit bigger, we probably would have got the quad XP catch there for that. So we're picking up more rubies today. We're probably going to get some diamonds as well as we go through the mines and as we do more fishing. Here's the thing about rubies and diamonds. I tend to sell most of the rubies and diamonds I get towards the start of the challenge, just to get that extra boost with money. But once you kind of get past day number 10, I tend to keep all of the rubies and diamonds that I find, so that when you go into the Lights of Skull Caverns, you can trade those in for triple shot espressos and spicy eels. We now have 1,903 gold. We just need a handful more fishies, and we can then go up to piers, get the first backpack upgrade, and then head back to the farm and cut down a couple of trees. Now, we don't really need the 300 pieces of wood today. As long as we get it before Saturday, and as long as we get it before we hit fishing level 6, it's going to be alright. Once you unlock the bait maker, you want to be able to make that straight away. So getting the resources before that happens is very important. Now, we mightn't even get the resources this week. You're not guaranteed to get corals or sea urchins from the tide pool area. The corals are a lot more common, however, you need 3 of them. The sea urchin is a little bit more rare. Hopefully we can nab one of those within the first week. If not, it's up to RNG to decide when that first sea urchin will spawn for us. So if we don't get it this week, what will happen is we'll probably end up coming down to the tide pool area every single morning, checking to see if a sea urchin will spawn. And it does use up considerable time, especially when you factor in how much time you have in any given day. So ideally, it would be real nice if we got it this week. We're also not getting a whole lot of bait in the treasure chests that we're picking up. Sometimes I can play through this game and I swear every second chest that we get from the fishing minigame gives us huge amounts of bait. Sometimes you can have hundreds of bait in your rod, but we're not really getting that kind of RNG this time around. So we also have to keep an eye on the bait, because if we do run out of bait, the fishing slows down dramatically, and bait is very cheap to get from Willy. I never purchased deluxe bait. I feel like it's just too expensive when you're starting out. 100 gold for one piece of bait? If you're lucky, you can actually get it inside the fishing treasure chests. And because we're very close to making the bait maker as well, the specific bait kind of overpowers the deluxe bait anyway. So deluxe bait is actually something I don't use a whole lot of. That's not to take away from that bait. I mean, if you're going for the likes of a legend catch, it's quite nice to have because it makes your fishing bar a little bit bigger. Before we get the backpack upgrade, we're going to donate a few things here to Gunther. We're going to give him 1 ruby just to get it out of the way, and a few other bits and pieces. If you showed the museum a little bit more love at the start of the challenge, you can get your hands on a lot of cauliflower seeds, and it is a great money saver. And cauliflowers are quite profitable. The only thing I don't like about cauliflowers is the amount of time they take to fully grow. So when it comes to crops, I always kind of lean more towards the parsnips and the kale. So we're now going to finally head into Pierre's, and we're going to nab that first backpack upgrade for 2,000 gold. The next upgrade is 10,000. It is way more expensive, but take my advice, if you have the funds, just get the first backpack upgrade as soon as you can. It is a game changer in the earlier days. Just before I left, I forgot that I had to buy the bean starter. I almost forgot it, so 60 gold, well spent for that. We want the bean starter to complete one of the community center bundles. Now, we really should have bought the bean starter at day number 1, I just didn't think of it. But hey, it's day number 4, it's not too bad. We're also going to talk to a lot of these Stardew Valley NPCs. The more NPCs you talk to, the more help wanted quests you're going to find every time you walk past Pierre's store. And the help wanted quests are something that we want to put some time into, because getting the mystery boxes much earlier rather than later in the challenge will pay off for us greatly. You can get some amazing things from the mystery boxes, including seeds, hardwood, and even special weapons. We're now going to make our way back to the farm. But first, we're going to take a nice stroll through Simsap Forest to see if there's any forageables we can pick up. So we're going to run on here to see if we get any spring onions and other bits and bobs. The reason why we're checking right now is because cutting down trees uses up huge amounts of energy. Now we already have over 100 pieces of wood, so we only need to get maybe 180, 190 pieces of wood and we're golden. We have cookies as well, which gives a lot of energy, and we have a few other bits and pieces that we can eat also. Our energy is quite low at the moment, but we should have enough to see us through all of the wood requirements that we need to fix up the bridge. So once we're done with Simsap Forest, we're now going to head straight back up to the farm, where our woodcutting journey begins. There's a lot of trees on the standard farm, and this is one of the things I love most about the standard farm. It's the sheer amount of resources that it gives you. If you just take a look at the amount of stone that's on this farm, the amount of trees that's on this farm. But once all of those resources have been eliminated, the farm shines through when you look at the sheer amount of crop space that this farm type will give you. That is why most of my challenges are always played on the standard farm. So once we're finished with doing some inventory management with our chest, we're going to put down the bean starter and we're going to water it up. We're then going to take some time to look at what we have for energy. Now, we do have some forageables there. We need to keep the forageables for the community centre bundle. We do have some carps. We will take those. I am kind of reluctant to take out the seaweed and sell it, because there might come a time where we might get ourselves a very early legend, and it might be a good idea to fire that into a fish pond. So we're now going to cut down some trees. Now all of these seeds that we get, we can also turn those seeds into field snacks, okay? So if you take a look at the pine cone, the acorn, the maple seed, you can actually combine those 3 things into field snacks, and field snacks are great for energy. So here's a great tip for you. If you don't have a whole lot of energy to work with and you really need wood, cut down one of each 3 and then make a field snack and just rinse and repeat. And if you look at the ground, you'll notice that there's loads of seeds in the ground. And as we can see, I take the time to use my axe and pick all those seeds up. You never know what kind of seeds they're going to be. I'm going to move all of my seeds over to the side there. And every so often, if my energy gets super low, I'll just use them to make more field snacks. So it's just a great way to keep the energy topped up. Unfortunately, you can't do this tactic on day number 1 because you cannot make field snacks. Also, you don't have the perk where trees can drop seeds. If you could do that in day number 1, you could probably end up with an extremely powerful first year. Now, we're actually hitting 2 birds with the 1 stone at the moment, because there will come a time where we want to layer up this land in crops. And you can use bombs to get rid of a lot of the debris here, but if you use bombs, you're eliminating a huge amount of foraging XP that you could have gotten if you cut down all of these trees with an axe. That's why it's very important to get this axe upgraded as quickly as possible. It would be nice to get an iridium axe before spring is out. That means we can wipe out a tree, including the stump, in just 3 swings. Even the gold axe is pretty nice, but nothing compares to the iridium axe. Even when you cut down the little logs on the ground, you get 1 foraging XP for those, and that accumulates very quickly. So we reached exhaustion there very quickly, but not to worry. We do have lots of tree seeds that would allow us to make field snacks if we need to. We also have lots of carps as well. Now, when it comes to energy, chubs are actually real good for energy as well, but we just had carps on us, so we used those. You don't get a whole lot of money for selling carps, so take my advice, just eat them for energy if you really, really need it. We made 4 field snacks there now in total, so we have those as well. So we should now have enough energy to get the wood we need to fix up the bridge to get into the tide pool area before the day finishes. We also want to get a foraging skill of 3 as quickly as possible, because once you get a foraging skill of 3, you can make an item known as the cookout kit. The cookout kit will allow us to cook up recipes. It's just so handy to get early on because you don't need to upgrade the house. There's a handful of recipes you can cook with the cookout kit in the early stages that's going to make life way easier for us. So we will try to make a chest eventually, fire it up into the mines, put a few cookout kits inside, and we can always use it to make some roots platter, for example, dish of the seas if you want to go for an early legend, and we can even make triple shot espressos if we want to get those speed buffs for Skull Cavern runs later on, if we don't have a whole lot of diamonds to trade in to the desert trader. So we're using a lot of our field snacks at the moment. We do have a lot of wood assembled. We just need 1 or 2 more trees and we are good to go. We can beeline it right down to the tide pool area and we can get that bridge fixed up, no problem at all. Now we also have to worry about the iron bars needed to make the bait maker. You need 3 iron bars in total. That is 15 pieces of iron ores. Sometimes you just don't get lucky when it comes to the fishing minigame and you might not get a whole lot of iron ores. Don't worry about it. You can buy iron ores off Clint. I think it's 150 gold for 1 iron ore. I mean, if you do a little bit of fishing, it won't take too long to purchase all of the ores we need off Clint to get those 3 bars made. We have 6 pieces of iron ore at the moment, so we won't have to buy a whole lot of iron to get the bait maker done. So we had to go back to the chest, because yes, I forgot my wood. Forgetting things in the chest has resulted in many day resets in other challenges that I have done. You would not believe how forgetful I can be when it comes to putting things in the chest and then forgetting to take them back out when I'm doing inventory management. And before I know it, I'm off in Skull Caverns, or I went off into the mines, or I went off up to the lake, and oh look, I forgot my fishing rod, or I forgot my bombs, or I forgot my weapon, or I forgot something, which leads to a day reset. But we're not doing day resets here. Nope, we're just going to play along and see how we do. So we're going to make our way down to the beach and hopefully we can get all of the items needed to make the bait maker. Now, fixing up the tide pool area is still a viable strategy when it comes to making money, even if you don't want to do a whole lot of fishing, even if you're not interested in making the bait maker. Coming down here every Saturday, after all of the forages have accumulated, it's another great way to get foraging XP and to make money. So let's see what we're going to get here. We got some carrots from a hoeing spot, that's nice, we're going to plant those. 2 hoeing spots give us 30 extra foraging XP, which was great. So we got the coral, we got 4 pieces there in total, which is great, we only need 3. We didn't get the sea urchin today. Hopefully we can get that tomorrow. Now it is quite late, which means there isn't a whole lot we can do before the day comes to an end. Our energy is quite low as well, so we're going to head back to the farm. We're going to do some inventory management. We might plant the carrots because the carrots only take a few days to grow, and carrots are absolutely amazing to give back health and energy, especially energy. It's a super energy food. For those of you who are following along with the Let's Plays, Let me know in the comments how you got on with your day number 4. What did you do? Have you gotten access to the tidal area just yet? What level is your fishing skill? How much money have you gotten? Did you even pick the same farm type as me? I know some of you went a totally different route. That's okay. It's still interesting to let me know how you're getting on so we can compare our own runs. So we're going to put all of the items we got from the tide pool area back into our chest. We're going to grab the watering can and we're going to plant these carrots with the little pieces of energy that we have left. These carrots will come in very handy when the day comes and we can pluck them out of the ground. Now we had a good 30 to 40 in-game minutes left. We're going to use those to maximum effect. We're going to eat a couple of algae here and we're just going to shave away some of this debris that we have on the ground to get an extra little bit of XP and to get some extra little pieces of resources. And we're going to do it now to save time later. And this is what makes a very good spring. It's doing little things like this before your character passes out. All of these little interactions will accumulate over a period of a couple of days. It's just squeezing every single day to its maximum potential. Even if we passed out, it wouldn't matter. We only have 295 gold. It's not going to make a shred of a difference if we pass out from exhaustion or not. So we finally got the level 6 fishing there. We can make the bait maker, which is great. All we need now is the iron bars and the sea urchin. And that is another Let's Play video done. I really hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks so much everyone for watching. I'll see you very soon in our next community Let's Play.